The stars looked calm, but something had changed. Captain Elias stood on the command deck of the human patrol ship Iron Watch. The ship floated near the outer edge of Terran space, where human territory met the unknown. Usually this area was full of movement. Trade ships passed by every hour. Alien vessels came and went. Signals filled the air. But today it was quiet. Too quiet. Elias crossed his arms and looked at the main screen. "Status?" he asked in a steady voice. Tom, the young officer at the console, glanced back. "No incoming traffic, sir. No outgoing ships either. Even the trade lanes are empty." Elias frowned. "That's not normal." Before Tom could reply, a sharp sound echoed across the bridge. "Alert! Priority message from Terran Command." Everyone froze. Elias turned quickly. "Put it on screen." The lights dimmed slightly as the message appeared. A symbol of Terran Command glowed bright, cold, and serious. Then a voice spoke. It was calm, firm, and carried no emotion. "Attention all Terran forces. This is a direct order from Terran Command." The crew stood still. No one moved. No one spoke. Effective immediately, all borders of Terran space are sealed. Tom blinked. "Sealed?" The voice continued. "No alien vessel is permitted to enter or exit Terran-controlled systems. All trade, diplomacy, and civilian movement is suspended until further notice." Elias narrowed his eyes. "Any unauthorized attempt to cross the border will be treated as a hostile action." The words hung heavy in the air. "Enforcement is absolute. There will be no exceptions." The message ended. Silence filled the bridge. For a moment, no one knew what to say. Then Tom spoke softly. "Sir, what does this mean?" Elias did not answer right away. He kept his eyes on the dark screen, thinking. "It means," Elias said slowly, "everything just changed." Within minutes, the entire sector came alive, not with ships, but with confusion. Signals flooded in from nearby systems. Alien traders, transport captains, and diplomats all sent the same question. "What is happening?" Elias walked to the communication station. "Open a channel." A face appeared on the screen. It was a merchant captain from a nearby alien group. His expression was tense. "Captain Elias," the merchant said, "we request permission to enter Terran space. Our cargo is perishable. We have agreements." "Request denied," Elias said calmly. The merchant looked shocked. "Denied? That is not possible. We have legal rights." "New orders," Elias replied. "No entry. No exceptions." The merchant's voice rose. "This will cause problems. Big problems." Elias did not react. "Turn your ship around." The screen went dark. Tom shifted in his seat. "Sir, this is going to make a lot of people angry." Elias nodded. "Yes, it will." Hours passed. More ships appeared at the edge of Terran space. Some stopped and waited. Others sent repeated requests. A few tried to move closer. Each time, the answer was the same. No entry. Turn back. Still, not everyone listened. A large cargo convoy approached from deep space. 10 ships, moving slowly, but directly toward the borderline. Tom looked nervous. "Sir, they are not stopping." Elias stepped forward. "Send a warning." Tom spoke into the console. "Unknown convoy. This is Terran patrol ship Iron Watch. You are approaching a restricted zone. Stop immediately and turn back." No response. The convoy kept moving. Tom swallowed. "They're still coming." Elias felt a cold weight in his chest. He knew what came next. "Send final warning." Tom's voice was louder this time. "Final warning. Any further movement will be seen as a hostile act." Still nothing. The ships crossed the invisible line. For a second, everything seemed still. Then space itself came alive. Hidden defense platforms powered on. Bright lines of energy shot across the darkness. In a flash, the convoy was hit. Explosions lit up the void. One ship, then another, then all 10. Gone. The silence returned. Tom stared at the screen, his face pale. They didn't even fight back. Elias looked straight ahead. His voice was low. They were warned. The news spread fast. Across the galaxy, one message became clear. Terran's space was closed.
No one knew why.
No one understood how far humans were willing to go. But one thing was certain. They were serious. Later, alone in his private quarters, Elias sat in silence. The lights were dim. The sound of the ship hummed softly around him. He replayed the message from Terran Command again and again. Borders sealed. No exceptions. Hostile action. It did not feel like a normal order. It felt like the beginning of something bigger. Something dangerous. Elias leaned back and closed his eyes for a moment. Then he opened them again, sharp and focused. Whatever this is, he said quietly, we're not being told everything. Outside the ship, the stars remained still. But deep in the darkness beyond Terran space, something was coming. The silence did not last long. After the destruction of the cargo convoy, fear began to spread across the nearby systems. Trade ships that once moved freely now stayed far from Terran space. The busy routes that were full of life only a day ago now looked empty and cold. Captain Elias stood on the bridge of the Iron Watch, watching the long-range scanner. Small signals blinked at the edge of range. Ships waiting, ships watching, ships afraid to come closer. Tom spoke in a low voice. Sir, they are gathering. Elias nodded. They want to see if we are serious. Tom looked uneasy. After what happened, I think they already know. Elias did not reply. His eyes stayed on the screen. Hours later, a new signal appeared. Sir, incoming transmission, Tom said. It's not a traitor this time. Put it through. The screen lit up, showing a tall alien figure wearing formal clothing. His voice was calm, but there was tension behind it. This is Ambassador Lauren, he said. I represent a coalition of nearby systems. We demand an explanation for your actions. Elias stood straight. Ambassador, Terran Command has issued new orders. Our borders are closed. That is all. The ambassador's eyes narrowed. That is not enough. Trade agreements have been broken. Ships have been destroyed. This is an act of aggression. Elias remained calm. Those ships ignored direct warnings. They were civilian ships, the ambassador snapped. They crossed a restricted line. For a moment, the ambassador said nothing. Then he spoke again, slower this time. If this continues, you will not face traitors next time. You will face fleets. Elias did not show any fear. Then do not cross the line. The transmission ended. Tom let out a breath. That didn't sound good. No, Elias said quietly. It didn't. The next day, things got worse. More ships arrived, but they did not come alone. A large group of vessels gathered just outside Terran space. Warships. Not as strong as human fleets, but powerful enough to cause trouble. Tom pointed at the screen. Sir, that's not a trade convoy. Elias stepped closer. Scan them. Multiple armed ships. Defensive formations. They are not attacking yet. Elias crossed his arms. They are testing us. A message came through. This is Commander RYK of the Outer Systems Fleet, a rough voice said. We are here to escort civilian ships across your border. You will stand down. Tom looked at Elias. Sir? Elias did not hesitate. Open channel. The screen shifted. This is Captain Elias of the Terran patrol ship Iron Watch, he said. Your request is denied. Turn back immediately. Commander RYK laughed slightly. You think you can stop all of us? Elias answered in a steady tone. Yes. The alien commander leaned forward. We are not here to fight, but we will not be blocked. Elias gave the final warning. Cross the line and we'll respond. The channel closed. For a few minutes, nothing happened. The alien fleet stayed in position. Then, slowly, they began to move. Tom's voice shook slightly. Sir, they are advancing. Elias felt the tension rise in the room. Every crew member watched the screen. No one spoke. Mark the borderline, Elias ordered. A thin red line appeared on the display. The alien ships moved closer and closer. Then the first ship crossed. Everything happened in seconds. Hidden defense platforms activated again. bright energy beams cut through space with perfect aim. The first warship exploded. The second tried to turn, but it was too late. More blasts followed. The alien fleet broke formation. Some ships tried to retreat. Others fired back, but their weapons hit nothing. The Terran defenses were too fast, too precise. Within moments, the attack was over. Half the fleet was gone. The rest turned and fled. Silence returned once again. But this time, it felt heavier. Tom looked down at his console. We just destroyed warships. Elias spoke in a quiet voice. They crossed the line. Tom shook his head slowly. This is not going to end here. No, Elias said. It's not. News spread faster than before. Across the galaxy, the message was now clear. Humans were not just closing their borders. They were defending them with deadly force. Trade stopped completely. No ship dared to come close. Even the strongest alien groups pulled their fleets back. For the first time in many cycles, Terran space became silent. Truly silent. Later, Elias stood alone on the observation deck. He looked out at the stars. They seemed distant now, like they were watching from far away. Tom walked in quietly. Sir, do you think they will come back? Elias did not look at him. Yes. Stronger? Yes. Tom hesitated. Then why are we doing this? Why risk war with everyone? Elias finally turned. His face was calm, but his eyes were serious. I don't know, he said, but Terran Command does. Tom frowned. You trust them that much? Elias looked back at the stars. I trust that they would not do this without a reason. He paused for a moment. Whatever is coming must be worse than war. Tom said nothing. Outside, the empty space remained still. But far beyond the border, something was watching. And waiting. The galaxy did not stay quiet for long. After the second battle at the border, fear turned into tension. Trade had stopped. Diplomats had gone silent. Even the strongest alien powers kept their distance from Terran space. But silence did not mean peace. It meant something was building. Captain Elias stood on the bridge of the Iron Watch, watching new data scroll across the main screen. Reports were coming in from deep inside Terran space. Fleet movements, ship construction, weapon transfers. All of it was increasing. Tom looked up from his station. Sir, I've never seen this before. Elias glanced at him. What do you mean? Tom tapped the console. Shipyards are working at full speed. New warships are being launched every hour. Even old stations are being turned into defense platforms. Elias frowned. That's not normal. No, sir, Tom said. It's not. A new message arrived from Terran Command. Elias opened it quickly, expecting answers. But there were none. The message was short and clear. All patrol units will remain at current positions. Increase readiness levels. Prepare for extended operations. Elias read it twice. Still no explanation, he said. Tom leaned back. It feels like they're getting ready for war. Elias did not answer, but deep inside he agreed. Far beyond the border, rumors began to spread. Alien networks, traders, and spies all shared the same stories. Humans are building something. They are preparing fleets. They are hiding something big. No one knew the truth. But everyone felt the same thing. Something was coming. Days passed. No ships crossed the Terran border. No attacks came. But the tension only grew stronger. One evening, Tom called out suddenly, Sir, we have long-range contacts. Elias moved quickly to the screen. Show me. Several small signals appeared far beyond the border. Unknown ships, Tom said. They're not traders. Not military either. Scouts? Elias asked. Maybe, Tom replied. They are staying at extreme distance. Just watching. Elias crossed his arms. They are gathering information. Tom looked worried. About us? Yes, Elias said. About our defenses. Our strength. Our response time. Tom swallowed. So, they are planning something? Elias gave a short nod. Most likely. Another signal came in. This time it was not unknown. Sir, it's a civilian broadcast, Tom said. Put it through. The screen showed a news report from a nearby system. The speaker looked serious. Across multiple sectors, reports confirm that human space remains completely sealed. No communication is being allowed in or out. Several fleets that attempted to test Terran defenses have been destroyed. The report continued. Experts believe humanity is preparing for a large-scale conflict. Some fear that Terran Command may be planning an expansion. Others believe a hidden threat is forcing them into isolation. Tom muted the broadcast. Expansion, he said. That doesn't sound right. Elias shook his head.
No.
If we wanted expansion, we wouldn't close our borders. Then what is it?
Tom asked.
Elias looked at the dark screen. I don't know, he said again. Inside Terran space, things were changing fast. Massive fleets moved between systems. Supply ships carried weapons and materials. Planets increased their defenses. Even small outposts were upgraded with new guns and shields. The Iron Watch also received upgrades. New weapons, stronger shields, better targeting systems.
Tom looked impressed.
Sir, this ship feels different. Elias nodded. It is. Tom smiled slightly. Feels like we're getting ready for something big. Elias did not smile. Yes, he said quietly. Something very big. Later, Elias stood alone in the command room, reviewing the latest reports. Fleet numbers were rising. Defense lines were expanding. Every part of Terran space was preparing. But still,
no one said why.
Elias leaned forward, thinking. This is not just defense, he said to himself. This is full war preparation. He paused. But against who? Suddenly, the lights flickered. Tom's voice came quickly. Sir, new signal very weak. Elias turned. Where from? Tom checked the data. Beyond known space, far beyond. Elias felt a chill. Can you identify it? Tom shook his head. No clear source. But it's repeating. Play it. A strange sound filled the room. It was not a voice, not a message, just a low, steady signal, like something calling out, or searching. Tom looked uneasy. What is that? Elias stared at the screen. I don't know, he said. The signal repeated again.
Slow, cold,
endless. After a few moments, the signal stopped. The room fell silent. Tom exhaled slowly. I don't like that. Elias agreed. Trace its direction, he ordered. Tom worked quickly. Then he froze. Sir, what is it? Tom looked up, his face pale. It's coming from deep space. How deep? Tom hesitated. Farther than any known system. Elias felt a heavy weight in his chest. Whatever sent that signal is not part of the galaxy. The two men stood in silence. No jokes. No questions. Just one thought. Something unknown was out there. Watching. Moving. Getting closer. Elias finally spoke. Send the data to Terran Command. Tom nodded quickly. Yes, sir. As the message was sent, Elias looked back at the stars. They no longer felt empty. They felt dangerous. And for the first time since the border was sealed, Elias understood. This was not about control. This was not about power. This was about survival. And whatever was coming, humanity was getting ready to face it alone. The signal changed everything. After Elias sent the strange transmission data to Terran Command, the reply came faster than expected. It was not long or detailed, but the tone was different this time. Signal confirmed. Maintain full alert. Do not engage unknown source. Prepare for incoming contact. That was all. No explanation. But now, Elias was sure. Terran Command knew. The Iron Watch moved to a higher defense position near the border. Other Terran ships also shifted into new formations. Hidden platforms powered up. Weapon systems stayed active at all times. The silence of space returned once again. But this silence felt like the calm before a storm. Tom watched the scanner carefully. Sir, multiple contacts detected. Elias stepped forward. Show me. Several large signals appeared at the edge of scanning range. Tom zoomed in. That's not a normal fleet. Elias narrowed his eyes. The ships were big. larger than standard warships. Their formation was tight and controlled. Energy readings were high, but steady. They are not random, Elias said. They are organized. Tom looked confused. Are they the same as the signal? Elias shook his head slowly. No, these are different. Then who are they? Elias answered in a low voice. A probe. Within minutes, a message came from the approaching fleet. Unknown Terran forces. This is Commander Varn of the Outer Coalition Fleet. Tom looked surprised. Coalition? Elias nodded. So the galaxy finally decided to act. The message continued. We are here to test your border restrictions. We do not seek war, but we will not accept isolation without reason. Stand down and allow passage. Tom looked at Elias. They want to push through. Elias gave a small nod. Yes. Orders, sir? Elias took a breath. His voice stayed calm. Open channel. The screen lit up, showing a strong-looking alien commander. His expression was serious, but not aggressive. This is Captain Elias of Terran Command, Elias said. Your request is denied. Turn back immediately. Commander Varn did not react right away. He studied Elias for a moment. You are making a mistake, Varn said. This action is causing fear across the galaxy. Elias replied, That is not my concern. Varn's eyes narrowed slightly. Then, what is your concern? Elias paused for a second. Protecting Terran space. Varn leaned forward. From what? Elias did not answer. The silence between them grew heavy. Finally, Varn spoke again. If you do not give us answers, we will move forward. Elias gave the final warning. If you cross the border, we will respond. The channel closed. Tom exhaled slowly. This is it, isn't it? Yes, Elias said. This is the test. The alien fleet began to move. Slow at first, then faster. Their ships formed attack positions, shields glowing faintly. Tom's voice became tense. They are ready for combat. Elias stayed focused. Mark the line. The red border line appeared again. The fleet moved closer. Closer. Then the first ship crossed. This time, the response was different. Instead of immediate destruction, the Terran defenses held for a second. As if waiting. As if measuring. Then, a massive beam of light fired from deep space. It was not from the Iron Watch. Not from nearby platforms. It came from something far behind the Terran lines. The beam struck the lead alien ship. In 1 second it was gone. Not destroyed. Erased. Tom's eyes went wide. What was that? Elias did not answer. Even he looked shocked. More beams followed. Each one perfectly accurate. Each one hitting a target. The alien fleet tried to react. Ships moved, shields flared, weapons fired. But it made no difference. The beams were too fast. Too powerful. Within moments, half the fleet was gone. Commander Varn's ship sent a final signal. All ships retreat. Retreat now. The remaining vessels turned and fled at full speed. The beam stopped. Silence returned. Tom stared at the empty space. That wasn't our normal defense system. Elias nodded slowly.
No.
It wasn't. Tom looked at him. Then what was it? Elias took a deep breath. A weapon, he said. What kind of weapon? Elias looked toward the inner Terran systems. The kind we were not supposed to see yet. A new message arrived from Terran Command. Elias opened it immediately. Do not discuss the event. Maintain position. Continue operations. Tom shook his head. They don't even explain that? No, Elias said. They don't. Hours later, reports came in from across the galaxy. The Coalition fleet had been defeated. Not just defeated. Destroyed with ease. Fear spread faster than ever before. Now it was clear. Humanity was not just defending its borders. It was hiding something powerful. Something dangerous. That night, Elias stood alone again, looking out at the stars. He thought about the beam. The power. The precision. No known weapon in the galaxy could do that. Not even close. He crossed his arms, deep in thought. If that's just the beginning, he said quietly, then what else are we hiding? Behind him, the The ship remained silent. Ahead of him, the galaxy stayed distant. But far beyond everything, in the deep darkness where the strange signal came from, something moved.
Slow. Cold.
Unstoppable. And for the first time, it had been noticed. The galaxy did not wait long to react. After the destruction of the Coalition fleet, fear turned into anger. Many systems could not believe what they had seen. A powerful fleet had been erased in moments, as if it never existed. Now no one doubted it. Humanity had something far beyond anything known, and that made them dangerous. Captain Elias stood on the bridge of the Iron Watch, watching the latest reports come in. Tom read from his console, his voice tense. Multiple fleets are gathering across nearby sectors. Different groups this time. Not one alliance, many. Elias nodded slowly. They are scared. Tom looked up. Scared people don't gather fleets, sir. They hide. Elias shook his head. Not always. Sometimes they strike first. Another alert sounded. Sir, new contacts at the border, Tom said quickly. Show me. The screen filled with signals. More than before. Dozens of ships. From different systems. Different designs. But all armed. They came together, Tom said. Even after what happened last time. Elias crossed his arms. This is not just a test anymore. Tom swallowed. This is a challenge. A message came through almost immediately. This is Commander Hale of the Free Systems Fleet, a firm voice said. Terran Command, you have gone too far. You destroy ships without warning. You hide weapons from the galaxy. We demand answers. Elias responded calmly. You were warned. The border is closed. Turn back. Another voice joined in, sharper this time. We will not turn back. A third voice followed, colder. If you will not speak, we will make you. Tom looked at Elias. They are serious. Elias nodded. So are we. The alien fleets moved forward. This time, they did not hesitate. Their ships spread out, forming a wide attack line. Weapons powered up. Energy readings spiked across the scanner. Tom's hands moved quickly over the controls. They are preparing to fire. Elias spoke clearly. All systems ready. Hold position. Sir, should we call for backup? Tom asked. Elias shook his head.
No.
We are the line. The first shots came from the alien side. Bright flashes of energy crossed the darkness, striking near the Terran border. Explosions lit up space as defense shields absorbed the hits. Tom shouted. They've opened fire. Elias stayed calm. Return fire. The Iron Watch came alive. Weapons fired in perfect rhythm. Defense platforms activated instantly. Hidden guns revealed themselves, sending precise shots toward the attacking ships. Explosions spread across the battlefield. Ships on both sides moved fast, trying to outmaneuver each other. But the Terran defense was different. It was controlled, calculated,
Cold.
Elias watched every movement. Target their front line. Break their formation. Tom nodded. Yes, sir. The Iron Watch fired a focus barrage. Several enemy ships lost shields and fell back. But more ships moved forward. They keep coming, Tom said. Elias narrowed his eyes. They think numbers will win. Then, the deep weapon activated again. A massive beam of light cut through space. One enemy ship vanished. Then another. Then another. The alien fleets reacted quickly this time. Ships scattered, trying to avoid the beam. It's targeting them one by one,
Tom said.
Elias nodded. They are learning. But it's not enough, Tom added. No, Elias said. It's not. The battle grew intense. Alien ships fired from all directions. Some managed to hit Terran platforms, causing explosions across the defense line. Warning alarms filled the bridge. Shield levels dropping. Tom reported. Stabilize them, Elias ordered. Yes, sir. One enemy cruiser broke through the outer line. It moved fast, heading straight toward the Iron Watch. Sir, incoming heavy ship, Tom shouted. Elias reacted instantly. Evasive maneuvers. The ship turned sharply as a powerful blast passed by, missing them by seconds. Return fire, Elias commanded. The Iron Watch fired everything it had. The enemy cruiser's shields flickered, then broke. A final shot hit its core. The ship exploded in a bright flash. But the battle was not over. More ships kept coming. More explosions. More fire. Then suddenly, the alien fleets began to pull back. Tom blinked. They're retreating? Elias watched carefully. Yes, but not because they lost. Then why?
Tom asked.
Elias looked at the scanner. They got what they wanted. Tom frowned. What do you mean? Elias answered slowly. They tested us. Our weapons. Our response. Our limits. Tom's face turned serious. So, this was never about breaking through. No, Elias said. It was about learning how strong we are. The last enemy ship disappeared into deep space. Silence returned once again. But this time, it felt heavier than ever. Tom leaned back, exhausted. That was worse than before. Elias nodded. And next time it will be even worse. Tom looked at him. You really think they'll come back again? Elias stared at the stars. Yes, he said. But next time, they won't come to test us.
He paused.
They'll come to break us. Later, alone once again, Elias thought about the battle. The way the enemy moved. The way they adapted. They were learning fast. Too fast. He closed his eyes for a moment. This is only the beginning, he whispered. Far beyond the edge of the galaxy. The strange signal returned. Stronger this time. Clearer. And closer. Something was coming. And even the growing fire at the edge of Terran space might not be enough to stop it. The name spread across the galaxy like fire. The Closed Empire. That was what they now called human space. No ships entered. No ships left. No signals passed through. It was as if Terran space had become a wall, silent, strong, and impossible to cross. Captain Elias stood on the bridge of the Iron Watch, reading the latest reports. His face was calm, but his eyes showed concern. Tom spoke quietly. Sir, the name is everywhere now. Elias looked up. What name? Tom turned the screen toward him. The Closed Empire. That's what they're calling us. Elias stared at the words for a moment. Then he nodded slowly. Makes sense. Tom frowned. You don't think that's bad? Elias leaned back. It's not good, but it's not wrong either. Outside Terran space, things were changing. Alien systems had stopped all movement near human borders. Trade routes were redirected far away. Even long-distance signals avoided Terran-controlled zones. No one wanted to risk it. Not anymore. Inside Terran space, everything was different. Shipyards worked day and night. New warships were launched in massive numbers. Defense stations grew larger, stronger, more dangerous. Entire planets were being turned into fortresses. Tom watched one of the shipyard feeds. Huge ships moved slowly into position, their weapons glowing as they powered up. He shook his head. Sir, this doesn't look like defense anymore. Elias stood beside him. What does it look like? Tom hesitated. It looks like we're preparing for something huge. Elias nodded. We are. A new order came from Terran Command. All units will maintain maximum readiness. No reduction in alert status. Continue full defensive operations. Tom sighed. Same as always. Elias said nothing. But inside, his thoughts were growing heavier. Later that day, a strange signal appeared again. Sir, we're picking it up again, Tom said quickly. Elias turned fast. The same signal? Yes, sir. Play it. The low, steady sound filled the bridge once more.
It was deeper now.
Stronger. Like something getting closer. Tom looked uncomfortable. It feels wrong. Elias watched the data carefully. Track it. Tom worked fast. Then he froze. Sir, it's closer than before. How much closer? Tom swallowed. Half the distance from last time. Elias felt a cold chill. It's moving, he said quietly. At that moment, a priority message arrived. Elias opened it immediately. This time it was different. Very different. Captain Elias, report to secure channel. Elias looked at Tom. You have command. Tom nodded quickly. Yes, sir. Elias moved to a private room. The door sealed behind him. The screen activated. A high-ranking Terran officer appeared. His face was serious, his voice calm but heavy. Captain Elias. Sir. You have encountered the unknown signal. Yes, sir. The officer paused for a moment. Then he spoke. That signal is not random. Elias remained still. What is it? The officer looked directly at him. It is a trace. A trace of what? Elias asked. The answer came slowly. An enemy. Elias felt the weight of the word. Enemy, he repeated. Yes, the officer said. An unknown force. It does not communicate. It does not negotiate. Elias's voice lowered. What does it do? The officer's expression hardened. It destroys. Silence filled the room. Elias took a breath. Has it attacked before? Yes. Where? The officer hesitated. Outside the galaxy. Elias's eyes widened slightly. It wiped out multiple civilizations, the officer continued. Entire systems gone. Elias said nothing. Why seal the borders? Elias finally asked. The officer answered without delay. To protect the galaxy. Elias frowned. By shutting them out? Yes. Elias stepped forward slightly. That doesn't make sense. The officer's voice became stronger. If the enemy enters Terran space, we will fight it here. We will contain it. Elias understood. And if the borders were open, he said slowly, it would spread, the officer finished. Across every system. Every world. Elias felt a deep silence inside him. So we're not locking them out, he said. The officer nodded. We're locking it in. The room felt colder. Elias looked down for a moment, then back up. How long do we have? The officer paused. Not long. The screen went dark. The connection ended. Elias stood alone in the room. Everything made sense now. The sealed borders. The massive fleets. The hidden weapons. It was not fear. It was preparation. When Elias returned to the bridge, Tom looked at him quickly. Sir, what did they say? Elias looked at the crew. Then at the stars. His voice was calm but heavy. They gave us a reason. Tom waited. What is it? Elias answered in a quiet tone. There's something coming. Tom's face went pale. Something worse than what we've already faced. Elias nodded slowly. Much worse. The signal echoed again in the background. Stronger than before. Closer than ever. Outside Terran space, the galaxy still watched in fear. They thought humans had become isolated.
Cold.
Dangerous. But they did not know the truth. They were not being shut out in anger. They were being protected. And inside the locked empire, humanity was preparing to stand alone. Against something that did not stop, did not fear, and did not forgive. The truth did not stay hidden for long. Even though Terran Command tried to keep it secret, small pieces of information began to leak. Signals were intercepted. Old records were discovered. Fragments of lost data spread across the galaxy. At first, no one believed it. Then they started to connect the pieces. Captain Elias stood on the bridge of the Iron Watch, reading a classified report. His face was serious, more than ever before. Tom watched him carefully. Sir, you've been quiet since yesterday. Elias did not look up. Because now I understand. Tom leaned forward. Understand what? Elias finally raised his head. Why we sealed the borders. Tom felt a chill. So it's true? Elias nodded slowly. Yes. Tom swallowed. There's something coming? Elias's voice was calm, but heavy.
Yes.
And it's not like anything we've seen before. At that moment, a new alert appeared. Sir, incoming wide-range transmission, Tom said. It's not directed at us. It's public. Put it on. The screen filled with a broadcast from a distant system. The speaker looked shaken, his voice uneven. We have confirmed reports from deep space scouts. Entire star systems have gone dark. No signals. No life signs. Nothing. The bridge fell silent. The broadcast continued. This is not war. There are no battle traces. No debris fields. It is as if those systems never existed. Tom whispered, "That's impossible." Elias said nothing. The report ended. Another one followed. More systems are going silent. The pattern is clear. Something is moving toward the galaxy. Tom looked at Elias, fear in his eyes. That's the same direction as the signal. Elias nodded. Yes. Hours later, a secure message arrived from Terran Command. Elias opened it immediately. All senior officers will be briefed. Full disclosure authorized. Tom looked surprised. They're telling everyone? Elias nodded. They don't have a choice anymore. The briefing began. A large screen filled with data. Maps of space. Dark zones. Lost systems. A Terran officer spoke. The unknown force has been named the Silence. Tom whispered, silence. Elias kept watching. The officer continued. It does not send messages. It does not show intent. It only moves, and everything in its path disappears. Images appeared. Empty star systems. Cold planets. No ships. No life. Nothing. Tom shook his head slowly. How do you fight something like that? Elias answered quietly. You don't fight it like a normal enemy. The officer continued the briefing. The Silence has already consumed multiple civilizations outside our galaxy. Based on current data, it will reach the outer systems within weeks. Tom's hands tightened. Weeks. Elias remained focused. Terran Command initiated the border lockdown to contain the threat, the officer said. If the Silence enters human space, we will engage it here. We will not allow it to spread further. Another officer appeared on screen. Every Terran system is now part of the defense network. Every ship, every station, every weapon, we fight as one. The briefing ended. The room went quiet. Tom looked at Elias. So that's it, he asked. We just wait for it to come? Elias shook his head.
No.
Then what do we do? Elias looked at the stars. We prepare. Days passed. The entire Terran Empire moved as one. Fleets gathered at the outer edge. Massive weapons were deployed. Defense lines stretched across entire star systems. The Iron Watch was reassigned to a forward position, closer to where the enemy would arrive. Tom checked the scanners again. Sir, long-range readings are changing. Elias stepped forward. Show me. The screen updated. A large dark area appeared at the edge of known space. No signals. No movement. Just nothing. Tom whispered. Is that it? Elias stared at the screen. Yes. The darkness slowly expanded. System by system, it moved closer. No explosions. No warnings. Just silence. A small alien ship suddenly appeared near the Terran border. It sent a desperate signal. Please let us in, it's coming. Tom looked at Elias. Sir, what do we do? Elias felt the weight of the moment. The orders were clear. No entry. No exceptions. The alien ship moved closer. Its engines were damaged. Its signal grew weaker. It took everything, please. Tom's voice shook. Sir, we can save them. Elias closed his eyes for a second. Then opened them again. Hold position, he said. Tom looked at him in shock. But that is an order. The alien ship reached the borderline. It slowed down. Its signal faded. Then it went silent.
Gone.
No explosion. No trace. Just like the others. Tom stepped back, pale. It had just disappeared. Elias said nothing. He already knew. The Silence had reached them. The darkness moved closer.
Slow.
Steady. Unstoppable. Elias looked at the crew. His voice was calm, but firm. This is it. Tom swallowed. We can't stop that. Elias looked back at the growing void. We have to. Outside, the stars began to vanish. One by one.
System by system.
The hidden threat was no longer hidden. It had arrived. And now, humanity would face it alone. The galaxy was falling silent. Not by choice. Not by war. But by something far worse. The darkness, known as the Silence, continued to move forward. System after system vanished without a trace. No signals escaped. No ships returned. Only emptiness remained. Inside Terran space, there was no more doubt. No more secrets. Only preparation. Captain Elias stood on the bridge of the Iron Watch, watching the latest tactical display. The outer defense lines were now fully active. Thousands of ships had gathered. Battleships, carriers, defense platforms. Every unit was ready. Tom looked at the screen, his voice quiet. Sir, I've never seen this many ships in one place. Elias nodded. This is everything we have. Tom swallowed. And it might not be enough. Elias did not respond. A new order came from Terran Command. All frontline units will move to final positions. Defensive line Alpha is now active. No retreat. No fallback. Tom read it twice. No retreat. Elias spoke calmly. There's nowhere to retreat to. The Iron Watch moved into position with the rest of the fleet. Ahead of them, space looked empty. But everyone knew it wasn't. Behind them, massive weapons powered up. The same weapons that had destroyed entire fleets before. Now there were dozens of them, lined across space like a wall. Tom looked back at the tactical map. Sir, those weapons, they're covering the entire line. Elias nodded. That's the plan. To stop it here? Yes. Hours passed. No one spoke much. Every crew member watched their station, waiting. Then, Sir, Tom called out suddenly. Long-range sensors, just updated. Elias stepped forward quickly. Show me. The screen changed. The dark area had grown larger, much larger, and now it was close. Very close. Tom's voice dropped to a whisper. It's almost here. Elias stared at the screen. Yes. A message came through from Terran Command. All units, prepare for first contact. The words felt heavy.
Real.
Final. Elias turned to his crew. Everyone stay focused. Follow orders. No mistakes. Tom nodded quickly. Yes, sir. Minutes passed like hours. Then, the edge of the darkness reached the outer defense line. At first, nothing happened. No ships. No weapons. No movement. Just a wall of black space. Tom frowned. Is that it? Elias shook his head slowly. No. Suddenly, a Terran scout ship at the edge of the line disappeared. No explosion. No warning.
Gone.
Contact confirmed, Tom said, his voice shaking. Elias's eyes hardened. All units hold fire. Another ship vanished. Then another. The line was being touched and erased. Tom looked at Elias. Sir, what do we do? Elias took a breath, then gave the order. Activate the wall. At once, the massive weapons behind them fired. Dozens of beams shot forward into the darkness.
Bright.
Powerful.
Precise.
They hit the edge of the silence. For the first time, something happened. The darkness slowed. Just slightly. Tom's eyes widened. It's working. Elias watched carefully. Keep firing. More beams followed. The entire defense line lit up space. Energy poured into the void.
Trying to push it back.
But then, the darkness moved again.
Slowly. Steadily.
Forward. It's not stopping, Tom whispered. Elias clenched his jaw. Increase power. The weapons fired harder, brighter, stronger. But the result was the same. The silence kept coming. Then something new happened. A shape appeared inside the darkness. Faint at first, then clearer. Tom stepped back. Sir, there's something in it. Elias focused on the screen. A massive form moved within the void. Not a ship. Not a fleet. Something else. Something alive. It's not just a force, Elias said quietly. It's an entity. The shape moved closer. And, as it did, more Terran ships disappeared. Faster now. One after another. Tom's voice broke slightly. We can't fight that. Elias didn't answer. He couldn't. Another message came from Terran Command. All units hold position. Continue fire. Do not break the line. Tom shook his head. They still think we can stop it. Elias looked at the growing darkness. We have to try. The fleet held its ground. No ship moved. No one ran. They stood together, firing everything they had. But deep inside, every person knew the truth. This was not a normal war. This was not a normal enemy. This was something beyond understanding, beyond control. Elias looked at the screen one more time. The darkness was closer now, closer than ever. And for the first time, he felt it. Not fear, but pressure. Like something was watching them, studying them, waiting. "Sir," Tom said softly. Elias didn't look away. "Yes." Tom hesitated. "What happens if we fail?" Elias answered in a calm, steady voice. "Then there will be nothing left to fail." The line held.
For now.
But the fire of humanity was being tested like never before. The line did not hold forever. Even the strongest defense in human history began to crack under the pressure of the silence. One by one, ships vanished from the outer edge. Entire sections of the defense grid went dark without warning. There were no explosions, no debris, only empty space where something had once existed. Captain Elias stood on the bridge of the Iron Watch, watching the tactical map slowly change. Tom's voice was low, almost afraid. "Sir, we're losing the outer ring." Elias stared at the screen. "How fast?" Tom hesitated. "Faster than expected." A long silence followed. Another alert came in. "Sir, inner defense line is under pressure now," another officer shouted. Elias stepped forward. "Already?" Tom nodded. "It's spreading inward, like it's eating space." Elias did not respond immediately. His mind was focused. This was not a battle anymore. It was consumption. Then something changed. The darkness stopped advancing for a moment. The entire bridge fell silent. Tom looked around. Why did it stop? Elias narrowed his eyes. It didn't stop. He pointed at the screen. "It's gathering." Far beyond the Terran defense line, the void began to shift. The blackness was no longer just empty space. It was moving differently, like something inside it was waking up. Tom whispered, "Sir, long-range sensors are going crazy." Elias ordered, "Show me." The screen filled with unstable readings, energy fluctuations, unknown signatures. Entire sections of space were bending. Then, a massive object appeared, not fully visible, but impossible to ignore. Tom's face went pale. "That's not a fleet." Elias finished the thought.
No.
"It's the source." The object inside the darkness slowly revealed itself. It was not shaped like any known ship or structure. It was huge, far larger than a star system, and it moved without engines, without light, without sound, as if space itself was being pushed aside. Tom stepped back from his console. "This is impossible." Elias watched it carefully. His voice was calm but heavy. "This is what Terran Command warned us about." Tom turned sharply. "They knew it would be this big?" Elias nodded once. "Yes." A sudden alarm rang out. Multiple systems failing, an officer shouted. "Outer fleet is gone." The bridge shook slightly as another defense line disappeared from the map. Tom's voice broke. "We're getting pushed back everywhere." Elias raised his voice. "Hold formation." The fleet tried to respond. Massive Terran weapons fired again. Beams of light cut across space, striking the approaching entity. For a moment there was resistance. The darkness slowed again. Just slightly. Tom pointed at the screen. It reacted. Elias watched closely. "It feels it." But then, the entity moved forward again. Faster this time. Stronger. Entire sections of the defense line vanished at once. Ships disappeared in groups. Stations went dark without warning. Tom looked at Elias, panic rising. "Sir, we can't stop it." Elias did not answer immediately. His eyes stayed on the growing void. Then, another message came from Terran Command. "All remaining forces fall back to final core position." Tom read it quickly. "Final core, that's the last line." Elias nodded slowly. "Yes." The fleet began to retreat. Slowly. Controlled. But under heavy pressure. As they pulled back, the entity kept advancing. It was now clearly visible across multiple sensors. A massive shape inside the darkness. Moving closer. Tom whispered, "It's following us." Elias said quietly, "No, it's driving us." The Iron Watch joined the retreating formation. Other ships passed by, damaged and shaking. Some were missing entirely. Tom looked around. "We're losing too many ships." Elias replied, "That was expected."
Tom turned to him.
"Expected? Sir, this is destruction." Elias finally looked at him. "Terran Command knew we would lose ground." Tom froze. "Then why send us here?" Elias answered slowly. "To slow it down." A new wave of energy hit the defense line. Another section vanished. The retreat continued. As they moved closer to the inner systems, the stars began to look different. Brighter, more concentrated, heavily defended. Tom saw it first. "Sir, look ahead." Elias turned. Massive structures filled the space ahead. Fortress planets, orbital rings, superweapons. The final core defense zone. Tom whispered, "So this is it." Elias nodded. The last stand. The entity continued to approach behind them, relentless, unstoppable. For a brief moment, there was silence again. Not peace, just waiting. Then, the enemy entered the final core zone. And everything changed. The final core zone was not like anything the galaxy had ever seen.
It was not just a defense line.
It was a fortress built across stars. Entire planets were turned into weapon platforms. Massive orbital rings surrounded key worlds. Shipyards floated in space like giant cities. Every inch of the zone was prepared for one purpose: to stop the silence. Captain Elias stood on the bridge of the Iron Watch, now positioned at the very center of the core fleet formation. All around him, ships stretched as far as sensors could reach. Thousands, maybe more. Tom looked out at the display, his voice quiet. "Sir, this is everything." Elias nodded. "Yes." Tom swallowed. "If this fails..." Elias finished the sentence. "Then nothing else matters." A deep alarm echoed across the fleet. Final core defense activated. The entire zone came alive. Weapons powered up across multiple systems. Energy lines formed between stations. Shield networks connected entire planets like one giant structure. It was not a fleet anymore. It was a wall of steel, fire, and will. Tom stared at the screen. "I've never seen coordination like this." Elias replied, "Because nothing like this has ever been needed." Then the enemy arrived. At first, it was just the edge of darkness touching the core zone. No sound, no explosion, just contact. And then, the first core station disappeared. Tom's eyes widened. "It's inside the zone already." Elias ordered immediately. "All units, open fire." The core fleet responded instantly. Hundreds of beams fired at once. Massive cannons roared across space. Entire planets released energy bursts that lit up the darkness. For the first time, the galaxy itself seemed to fight back. The attack slowed the silence. Just for a moment. Tom pointed at the screen. "Sir, it's reacting." Elias watched closely.
"Good.
"Keep pressure." But the enemy adapted quickly. The darkness shifted. And then, it moved through the fire. Entire sections of the core fleet vanished. Ships disappeared mid-formation. Orbital stations went dark without warning. Tom stepped back. "It's ignoring the attacks." Elias narrowed his eyes.
"No.
It's learning through them." The core weapons fired harder. Stronger beams. Faster reloads. More coordination. But the result did not change. The silence kept advancing. Then something new happened. A massive core weapon, larger than a moon, fired its main beam. A straight line of pure energy hit the darkness. For a second, the darkness stopped. Tom's face lit up. That did it. Elias did not react. He was watching carefully, because the silence that followed was wrong. The enemy had not been destroyed. It had simply paused, like it was observing. Then it moved again. Faster. Stronger. Angrier. The core weapon vanished in a single instant. No explosion. No debris. Just empty space. Tom's voice shook. "We lost a whole weapon platform, Elias said quietly, "It's adapting faster than us." The fleet began to lose formation. Ships tried to reposition. Commanders issued emergency orders. But panic was starting to spread. Tom looked around. "Sir, morale is dropping." Elias stepped forward. "Hold the line." His voice went out across all channels. "Every ship stands its ground. No retreat. No confusion. We fight as one." For a moment, the fleet steadied. Ships returned to position. Weapons realigned. The core wall held again. But behind them, the silence kept moving. Closer. Tom looked at Elias. "We can't keep this up forever." Elias answered calmly, "We don't need forever." Tom frowned. "Then what do we need?" Elias stared at the battlefield. "Time." Another wave hit the core zone. This time stronger than before. Entire sectors flickered out. The wall of steel began to crack. Tom whispered, "Sir, it's breaking through the center." Elias turned. "Redirect all central fire to breach point." Weapons shifted. Beams concentrated on one area. The darkness slowed again. Barely. But it was enough for something else to arrive. A new Terran formation entered the battlefield. Hidden fleets, reserve units, emergency war groups. They came in from behind the core zone. Tom looked surprised. "We had reinforcements?" Elias nodded. "Always." The fresh fleets fired immediately. Coordinated strikes hit the breach point. The silence was forced to pause again. For the first time in the battle, the enemy did not advance immediately. Tom exhaled. "We're holding it." Elias did not relax.
"Not holding," he said.
"Delaying." The battlefield was now chaos. Light and darkness clashed across entire star systems. Ships fought and vanished. Weapons fired without pause. And at the center of it all, the silence remained. Unbroken. Unstoppable. Elias looked at the endless void. His voice was quiet. "This is not a war anymore." Tom looked at him. "Then what is it?" Elias answered, "A test." The core wall was still standing.
Barely.
But the enemy had not finished. Far from it, and somewhere deep inside the darkness, something was watching the humans fight, learning every move, every weakness, every hope. The wall of steel held.
For now.
But the galaxy had already begun to understand. This was only the beginning of the final stage. The core wall was breaking. Slowly at first, then faster. Each attack from the silence removed another piece of the human defense. Entire fleets vanished from the battlefield without sound or warning. The galaxy's strongest line was no longer a wall. It was becoming a struggle to survive. Captain Elias stood on the bridge of the Iron Watch, now heavily damaged. The lights flickered. Alarms echoed through the ship. Every system was under stress. Tom's voice was tense. "Sir, we've lost another sector." Elias nodded once. "I know." Tom looked at him. "We're running out of ships." Elias replied calmly. "Then we use what remains." Outside, the battlefield was chaos. Human ships fought in scattered groups. Some still held formation. Others were forced apart by the enemy's advance. The silence moved through everything. Not attacking, not firing, just erasing. Tom watched the screen with wide eyes. "It doesn't even care about our weapons anymore." Elias's face stayed focused. "Because it has already understood them." Tom frowned. "Understood." Elias nodded slowly. "It knows how we fight now." A sudden explosion of light filled the distance. A Terran supercarrier launched its final attack. Dozens of beams struck the advancing darkness at once. For a moment, it seemed to work. The silence slowed again. Tom pointed quickly. "Sir, that's our chance." Elias shook his head. "It's not a chance." He watched carefully. The enemy is reacting. And he was right. The darkness shifted again. This time, it did not move forward blindly. It changed direction. In seconds, the supercarrier vanished. No debris. No signal.
Just gone.
Tom stepped back. "That was one of our strongest ships," Elias said quietly. "And it learned from it." The remaining fleet regrouped near the core center. Ships were damaged. Shields were failing. But they stayed in formation. They had no other choice. A new message came from Terran Command. All remaining forces prepare for final countermeasure deployment. Tom read it aloud. Final countermeasure. He turned to Elias. Sir, what does that mean? Elias did not answer immediately. His eyes stayed on the battlefield. Then he said, It means everything ends here. The core fleet began its final movement. Massive weapons across multiple systems started charging at once. Energy built across planets, stations, and ships. The entire core zone became bright with power. Tom looked nervous. If this fails, Elias finished the thought. There will be nothing left. The silence reached the core center. And for the first time, it stopped. Tom blinked. It stopped moving? Elias narrowed his eyes.
No.
It's preparing. The entire battlefield went silent. No explosions. No movement. Even the weapons paused for a second. Then, the silence expanded. Not forward. Everywhere. Tom shouted. It's spreading inside the core. Alarms erupted across the bridge. Inner systems compromised, officers reported. Core shields collapsing. Fleet formation breaking. Elias spoke loudly. Hold position. Do not break formation. But it was already too late. Ships vanished inside the core zone. Stations went dark. Even the massive weapon systems began to disappear one by one. Tom's voice broke. We're losing everything. Elias looked at him.
No.
We're still here. A final wave of Terran fire was released. Every remaining weapon fired at once. The brightest explosion in human history lit the battlefield. For a moment, the silence stopped again. Tom's eyes filled with hope. We did it. Elias did not move. He was watching the center of the explosion. Then the light faded, and the darkness returned. Everything was still there, but nothing had changed. The silence remained. Tom stepped back slowly. No, that can't be, Elias said quietly. It wasn't enough. The fleet was now shattered. Only fragments remained. Small groups of ships fighting alone. But they still did not retreat. Not a single order was given to surrender. Elias stood straight. His voice went out across all channels. All remaining units, hold position. A pause. Then, we are humanity. The broken fleet responded. Even in defeat, they stayed. Even in loss, they stood together. Tom looked at Elias. Sir, we can't win this. Elias nodded slowly. Not the way we thought. The silence moved again. Closer. Final. Elias closed his eyes for a moment. Then, opened them. Prepare everything we have left, he said. Tom blinked. Everything. Elias nodded. Everything. Across the battlefield, remaining ships powered up their last systems. One final stand. One final chance. The galaxy's strongest defense was gone. But its will was not. And in the heart of the broken core zone, humanity prepared to make its final move. Against something that did not stop, did not fear, and did not forgive. The battlefield was almost empty. Not because the war had ended, but because there was almost nothing left to fight with. The core fleet had been broken. Ships drifted in space, silent and damaged. Entire systems had gone dark. The strongest defense line in human history had fallen apart piece by piece. And still, the silence kept moving. Captain Elias stood on the bridge of the Iron Watch. The ship was barely holding together. Lights flickered across the control panels. Alarms had become a constant background sound. Tom's voice was low. Sir, we're down to less than 10 ships in this sector. Elias nodded slowly. I know. Tom looked at him. This is the end, isn't it? Elias did not answer immediately. Then he said, Not yet. Outside, the darkness filled the view. The silence was now inside the core center. It had passed every defense line, every wall, every weapon. Nothing had stopped it. But Terran Command was not silent. A final message arrived. All remaining forces prepare for final protocol. Tom froze. Final protocol? Elias looked at the screen. His expression changed slightly. Now we understand why the borders were sealed. Tom turned to him quickly. What does that mean? Elias answered quietly. It was never just defense. The remaining ships gathered in formation. Not many were left, but they came together one last time. The silence moved closer. It was no longer just darkness. It was presence, a pressure that bent space itself. Tom whispered, I can feel it. Elias nodded. Everyone can. Then, Terran Command activated Final Protocol. Across the galaxy, hidden systems awakened. Deep inside stars. Inside dead planets. Inside ancient Terran structures that had never been used before. Something turned on. Massive energy channels opened across space. Not weapons. Not ships. Something far larger. Tom's eyes widened. Sir, what is that? Elias watched carefully. The reason we survived this long. Far behind the battlefield, at the edge of human territory, giant constructs began to move. Not fleets. Not stations. But something built across entire star systems. A structure that connected everything. The galaxy had never seen it before, because it was never meant to be seen. The silence paused. For the first time, Tom looked shocked. It stopped. Elias narrowed his eyes. It sensed it. The Final Protocol continued activating. Energy built across every remaining Terran system. Planets, stations, ships, even broken fleets. All of them connected into one network. One last system. Tom whispered, Is this still weapon? Elias shook his head. Something more. The silence reacted. It pushed forward again. Faster this time. Angrier. Entire sectors disappeared instantly. But the Final Protocol did not stop. It kept building. Tom shouted, It's getting closer. Elias stayed calm. Let it come. The remaining ships held position around the activation point. They did not retreat. They did not break formation. They waited. The silence reached the final activation zone. And then, everything stopped. No movement. No sound. Even the darkness froze. Tom blinked. What just happened? Elias answered quietly. It's inside the system now. The Final Protocol reached completion. Across space, one massive pulse formed. Not a beam. Not an explosion. Something different. A wave of pure structured energy expanded outward. Slow at first. Then faster. Tom stepped back. Sir, what is that going to do? Elias looked at the wave. It ends it. The wave touched the silence. At first, nothing changed. Then, the darkness began to break. Not explode. Not retreat. Break apart. Like it was being unmade. Tom's eyes widened. It's working. Elias did not smile. He watched carefully. Don't celebrate yet. The silence fought back. It resisted the wave. Space twisted. Systems flickered. But the wave kept spreading. Slowly, the darkness began to shrink. Tom whispered, We're pushing it back. Elias nodded. Yes. For the first time in the entire war, the silence was losing ground. But then, a deep vibration filled space. The entity inside the darkness moved. Fully revealed now. Massive. Impossible.
Alive.
Tom stepped back. That's it. Elias looked at it. Yes. The Final Protocol wave hit it directly. A bright flash filled the battlefield. Silence. Then slowly, the darkness faded. System by system.
Piece by piece.
Until nothing remained. Tom fell to his knees. Is it gone? Elias looked at the empty space. For a long moment he said nothing. Then finally, yes. The galaxy was silent. But this time, it was not fear. It was emptiness. The remaining ships floated in space, broken but alive. No one spoke. No one moved. Tom looked at Elias. We did it. Elias shook his head slowly.
No.
Tom frowned. Then what was it? Elias looked at the stars. We survived it. Far beyond the battlefield, the Final Protocol began to shut down. Systems powering off. Energy fading. The galaxy returning to normal. But Elias still did not relax. Tom noticed. Sir, it's over. Right? Elias stared into the distance. Maybe, because somewhere, deep in space, a faint signal remained. Very weak, almost gone, but not fully destroyed. Elias's eyes narrowed, and for the first time in a long time, he did not feel relief. Only warning. The war had ended, but the silence had not truly died.